The Atlanta Braves dropped the series finale to the San Francisco Giants 4-3 to get swept in the series and go 10 games below 500. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, going solo on this special sweep edition of the Braves Postcast. Jake Mastriani, host of Locked On Braves, is at Vacation Bible School. We'll be back tomorrow. The Braves dropped this one to the Giants 4-3, which means the Braves not only have been swept in this series, they are 10 games below 500. They have lost 7 straight games. They have not gotten a win in the month of June. And despite all of that, they still have a positive run differential. We're going to get to Spencer Strider. We're going to get to the offense. We're going to get to, we don't have a most valuable player today, right? Like just there's no player of the game for Atlanta when you lose. But we're going to talk about some of the guys that had significant impacts on this one, mostly bad for Atlanta. And when you look at the offense, this is very much a microcosm of Atlanta's season, right? They get exactly 6 hits. 2 of them are doubles. Austin Riley and Matt Olson both have doubles. And they put up a run in the first. They put up 2 more in the third. And then from that point on, can't bring anybody else in. And the first inning run, it's not like 2023, right? Like there's shades of 2023 scoring runs in the first, but you can see the difference here, right? Ronald Acuna Jr. walks to get on, does not attempt to steal. He gets moved to third base on an Austin Riley single, and then scores on a ground out on a ball from Matt Olson to the first base side. It's really kind of funny because in 2023, that's a 3-run inning at least, right? Ronald gets on, he steals second, Riley doubles and drives him in, and then Olson launches a home run, right? Like that's a 3-run inning. This year, it's a 1-run inning. Atlanta then goes and gets 2 more in the third. We're going to get to Strider, letting the game get tied up first before we get there. But Atlanta gets 2 more in the third, and it's similar here. They get Nick Allen singles to open the inning. They get a guy on. After Ronald flies out, Austin Riley doubles, 2 in scoring position here. Matt Olson hits a double, scores 2, just absolutely crushed a pitch. This was a center cutter. Probably should have thought of a better way to say that than center cut, given the fact it was a cutter. But gets a cutter down the middle, 112 miles an hour, launches it to the outfield, doesn't go out, but high off the wall, takes a funny hop. They play it poorly off the wall at home. Kind of weird there. He ends up on second base. Most other players are probably on third with a triple, and Atlanta gets some more runs. From that point on, Atlanta doesn't score anymore. And I've seen a couple people here in the chat kind of talking about this. There were situations where the Braves got a guy on third, couldn't do anything with it. There were situations where the Braves got pitches down the middle and just could not do anything with it. And that was kind of, you had a couple opportunities. I want to say it was the top of the 6th, 2 outs, Michael Harris singles, Sean Murphy walks, so runners on first and second, ground out from Ozzie Albies. And not even a hard hit ball, right? He hits it back to the pitcher. It's a terrible swing. Change up below the zone, 5 pitch at bat. He gets a grand total of 1 pitch in the strike zone. This changeup's a foot below the plate. And he gets the same kind of exit velocity that like any of us would do. It's like 47 miles an hour ground out to the pitcher, right? More situations like that going through. You send Alex Verdugo out there for the 7th in place of Eli White. He lines out. Nick Allen gets hit by a pitch. Strikeout of Acuna and Riley. Even the guys who were hitting well, like Ronald Acuna Jr. is batting .304 this year. His OPS is in the 900s. He struggles in this situation. You go down in order way too many times. And then in the ninth, we are not blaming the umpires for this, right? There is no sort of it is not the umpire's fault that this happened. But it is frustrating in the ninth. Ground out, Ozzie Albies singles with 1 out. Alex Verdugo gets called out on strikes, and you heard the broadcast complaining about this. This is a slider way off the plate. Thank you to everybody in the chat who's pointing out that there's somebody who's just spamming something. I can just take care of that real quick, and they should be gone from here on out. But Drake Baldwin comes in. Nothing doing. He strikes out, swinging, game ends. Braves strike out 8 times in this game. 6 hits, 2 walks. This offense, it's been a problem. I'm not saying it's just now a problem, but we can just clearly see that this offense cannot get it done short of maybe once a game, right? They have a 2-run inning in the third. They have a 1-run inning in the first. Both of these situations should have been situations where they could put up crooked numbers on the scoreboard, and they just don't do it. And at this point, I honestly, they're not doing well when they get the calls in their favor. When they have an umpire like what they got in the 9th inning, that definitely doesn't help. But you're in a boat here where the score is you have to figure something out. Jake and I have talked about this ad nauseum, I feel like, on the postcast here. This is something where these guys are all under long-term control, right? And so you can make minor changes. You can do something with left field, right? Eli White hasn't been good. Alex Verdugo has not been good. Both of them have OPSs in the low 6s. They've not been good. They did a little bit of weird batting order stuff in this one, trying to shake it up. Michael Harris batted 5th. Feels like a really odd decision there to do that. You're in a situation here. These guys have to be better. That's all there is to it. You can't really change out that many things right now. And so these guys have to be better. We're going to get to Spencer Strider and the pitching in just a minute. I also want to get to your questions. Jake's not here. We've got a couple minutes. So leave your questions in the chat. Those of you who are here on YouTube Live, there's 300 plus of you guys. Thank you so much. We'll get to these in just a second, right here on the Braves Postcast. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. A lot of people like the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. But if you need just the something to do with your hands, you can obviously grab the in-shell options. It's a classic favorite. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. If you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family, maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. Probably not going to be a lot of people there. The team's in the middle of a losing streak. They keep losing in really inventive and creative ways in the 9th inning, and you want to see how they're going to do it this time. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, maybe just invite more people to go with you. Game Time makes that possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app usually drop the closer you get to first pitch. They've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. They're the official ticketing partner of Locked on MLB, so it is very easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. If I remember right, you're going to see open seats in American Family Field in Milwaukee this week. So maybe you want to go make a trip to Milwaukee, have some beer while you're there, check out a couple Braves games. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome back to Braves Today. Welcome back to the Braves Postcast. Lindsay Crosby, host of the Braves Today pod, author of the Braves Today newsletter. It's been a long weekend, everybody. It's been a long weekend. I want to talk about Spencer Strider real quick, and then we're gonna get to your questions. I've started a couple of these here real quick. And Spencer Strider we've talked about, he needs to do more of the standard thing that pitchers do versus just fastball, slider, here they are, hit them. And in his most recent starts, he was throwing more curveballs. He was throwing more changeups. And he was having to adjust because his velocity was 95 versus in 2023 when he was averaging 97, 98, right? Like, he was averaging 97. He would touch 99 or 100. This year, he's averaging 95. His max in this game was 96.5. And so because of that, the conversation was, you can't throw down the middle as much. You have to move things around. You have to hit different locations, throw different pitches. He went back to the original pitch mix of fastball slider, right? 90 pitches, 88 of them were fastballs or sliders, right? One changeup, one curveball. Neither one of them got a swing, and both of them were out of the zone. So kind of just wasted pitches, really. Really just didn't really do much of anything for him. But I will say 11 whiffs in this one, 7 on the slider, nowhere near his career norms. Okay, nowhere near what he's used to. He had a 29% CSW. Reminder, average on called strikes plus whiffs is right around 31%, so slightly below average. But I will say he only gave up 3 hard hit balls in 6 innings. 3 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned. Shout out to Ozzy Albies there for a defensive error. He was ranging over to his left to get a ball when he was kind of shaded towards up the middle. He got to it. He booted it. A run came in. That was the unearned run. That was the difference in the game, really. But 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. You could tell Strider's locations weren't great. And it felt like it was mostly, I'm trying to pull up the pitch plot. It felt like it was mostly on the fastball. He missed a lot with the fastball outside. I don't know how much of that was Spencer Strider knowing, I can't throw this down the middle. I have to take this outside and hope that if I miss out of the zone versus down the middle. I don't know how much of that was that versus how much of that was poor locations. A lot of his sliders ended up being below the zone. But this is progress, right? The pitch mix was different. The velocity is still not back, and it's probably not going to be back for most of the season. But this was progress. Spencer Strider he gives up 2 doubles, right? Does not give up a home run in this game. Again, he is tagged with 4 runs, 3 earned. This is technically a quality start, because a quality start, the definition of that is 3 hits. Is 6 innings with 3 or less runs, earned runs. So this is technically a quality start, right? But it's progress from Spencer Strider. And it is, end of the day, I think we all know this. End of the day, Spencer Strider is not the reason the Braves lost this game. The bullpen is not the reason the Braves lost this game. Now, Strider's going to say, and it's a great point in the chat from Anthony Saunders. Shout out to Anthony here. I bet you Strider will say my walks didn't help. Spencer Strider will say that. We hear that from Chris Sale every time they lose, even though he pitches well, is that, he didn't help them out with this or with that. And he's finding a reason to take some of the blame for the loss, even though he pitched well. Strider's going to say his walks didn't help. Again, he walked 3 guys. He had 5 strikeouts. The offense, again, it comes down to the offense. And so at this point, I'm not mad at Spencer Strider. Yes, Pierce Johnson. I've seen a lot of them chat about DFA Pierce Johnson. He might get traded at the deadline. I think we're getting to the point of, it is very clear that we are going to end up being sellers at the deadline. I don't know how long it will take until we decide that. Again, we have not have a win in the month of June. Deals on Wheels asks, are they going to win a game in June? And they absolutely are going to win a game in June. I don't think I've ever seen a full calendar month where a team did not get a win. And Mass Boost makes a great point in the chat. A lot of theirs end up being that way. Braves had a lot of hard hit balls that just did not fall. Or just in general, a lot of hard hit balls. I know people don't want to hear that. I'm not talking about it. I'm not saying that is a reason. I'm just saying the pitching's been okay. The offense looks like they're trying. They're just not good enough. And I don't know what's going on here. And I don't know how to fix it. That's the hard part. A couple questions here. Emmanuel asks, where is the team meeting that is going to turn things around? Shout out to Emmanuel, subscriber to Braves Today, to that newsletter over at bravestoday.com. Big fan of Emmanuel's here. We have not gotten like the big story from the beat about this is the team meeting that they had. Now, typically, we get those stories when the wins start to come. They may have had that team meeting already. I've seen a couple people in the chat who have said they absolutely have had some sort of team meeting. It might have been on the plane on the way to San Francisco. We're just not going to know about the team meeting in detail until they start winning and somebody goes to a media member in the clubhouse and says it's because of that meeting, right? Ryan asked, aren't I glad I started doing the postcast this season? Listen, I was going to be watching either way, Ryan. I'm just glad to have an outlet. Somebody else mentioned in here, this is like therapy. I'm just glad to have an outlet where we can come out and we can say, like, it's not just me, right? This team is not playing well. They're playing poorly. They're bad right now. I'm glad to have that outlet with you guys. I wish this was more interactive, but obviously that's why I wanted to take questions with Jake not here so we can kind of talk about some of this stuff. Question from Trey. When do we start rooting for a bottom finish and a higher draft pick? This is the hard thing about baseball because for the most part, your draft pick is not going to make you better in 2026. You can pick number one overall. More than likely, that player is not going to play in the majors in 2020, in the next season, right? Obviously, the pick you're playing for now is the 2026 pick. So that guy's not going to be in the majors till 2027 at the earliest, and likely not even then. So while I want the Braves to attack the draft with the mentality of bolstering the position player group, and some of that is Ozzie Albies is up in a few seasons. Like you've got position players hitting free agency. You need to figure out shortstop still, left field still a black hole, all of this stuff. I don't think rooting for losses just for a high draft pick is going to be that impactful for the Braves unless you get into the top 5. And that's all going to be the lottery anyway. And they'll do that lottery at the winter meetings. I did see a question from Lady Braves. Familiar name. See you all the time in the chats here. Is Marcell Ozuna going to be traded at the deadline? At this rate, with the Braves struggling as much as they are, he is probably the primary trade chip the Braves have. So, this is definitely a situation where Marcell Ozuna would potentially be on the way out. The way things are going, you look like Marcell Ozuna would be out. Kevin, would firing Brian Snitker spark the team? Maybe. I mean, at this point, they're professionals, right? They're going to win or lose based on themselves. And people have pointed to, well, like the Pirates fired their manager and won a couple games, or Colorado fired their manager and won a couple games, but they were also bad after that too. Somebody else put it in here, maybe put it in chat, and I kind of agree. I think the manager's at best 20% responsible for what's going on, right? Some of their decisions, the bullpen stuff is magnified because they're the ones that pick the relievers. They're not the one executing the pitches, but they're the ones picking the relievers and when they go in. I personally don't think firing Brian Snitker midseason will do anything for this team. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't track that the same players who have had pretty much the same problems all season, hitting with runners in scoring position has been a problem. Too many strikeouts, chasing, all of that stuff's been a problem all year. I don't understand how firing Brian Snitker and saying, Walt Weiss, you're in charge, how that would fix it. Maybe, to your point, maybe you get a brief hump. Maybe you get 2 or 3 days of the teams fired up. Maybe they're pissed off. I mean, they were part of the reason that Brian Snitker got the job when he was an interim. There's not many players left from that group, but that was part of it. So I don't know if that would help. I really don't think it would. At this point, there's not much else you can do, though. There's not many other things you can try. And Philip makes a great point, the same point that I'm trying to make here. The players have to play to their abilities. Firing Snit won't change a single thing, and I kind of agree as well. I honestly think what's going to happen here, he will finish out the season as the manager. We all know there's 477 people in here right now. So the 478 of us, counting myself, we all know Brian Snitker is not the manager of the Atlanta Braves in 2026. It will be, that season will be his 50th year in the organization. They will put him in, they'll give him some other role in the organization so he can complete 50 years. We all know Brian Snitker is not going to be the manager next year. But I don't think that firing him in June or July will actually change anything. And some of the things that people wanted to happen, people wanted him to start getting mad about the balls and strikes. He got thrown out of a game the other day. And yes, Michael Harris had a home run immediately after. I still don't necessarily think that that is correlated. Michael Harris didn't hit the home run because Brian Snitker got thrown out. Michael Harris hit the home run because they threw him a good pitch and he happened to not miss it. So that's a situation we're in, right? Something has to change. And the thing that has to change is these players have to be better. Okay. And again, the Braves have a positive run differential, but they're 10 games below 500 because they've been so incredibly bad in one-run games. That reverts back to the mean usually from season to season. Look at the 2023 Miami Marlins. They were not a good team, but they had a really good record. I believe it was either one-run games or extra innings, and they made the postseason. What happened the next year? The bottom absolutely fell out. And going into the year, management knew it was going to. Skip Schumacher had them take the club option off his deal. They started making trades because they knew that was not sustainable. Same thing here. 9-19 in one-run games. I believe that's correct. 9-19. At any given time, that could go closer to normal. I don't know what the record is for one-run games in a season, for one-run losses in a season. I am going to look that up. I'll put it in the next Braves Today newsletter. But either way, frustrating 4-3 loss to the Atlanta Braves. Frustrating series, frustrating week, frustrating month, frustrating season as of right now. The Braves have 3 games starting tomorrow in Milwaukee. I might catch a lot of crap and get clipped for this. I don't think this Milwaukee team is that good. I do think the Braves have an opportunity to get back on the right track in Milwaukee. Their starters are always a little questionable. They're building some starters. They never really have the stud guys because they've traded them or they've been hurt or whatever. They don't hit for a ton of power. They play some decent defense. They run well. But I feel like the Braves could come back and get in the win column against the Brewers. So we'll see what happens. We will be back with a postcast for that for all 3 games. My goal, now that the college baseball season is over, my Auburn Tigers were eliminated in the Super Regionals this weekend. My goal is to not miss another postcast the entire rest of the season. So thank you to the 489 of you who are in here with me right now. Thank you to everybody who's listening to this on audio and who's watching this after the fact. We're going to get through this together. It's not been fun. I totally understand. It's not been fun. But we're going to get through this together because things are going to turn around for the Atlanta Braves. Do us a favor. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta so that you get a notification whenever we go live to break down the next Atlanta Braves game, as well as cover the rest of the sports in Atlanta, whether it is the Hawks, whether it is the Falcons. It is a tortured sports life that we lead because we root for Atlanta sports. Until next time, this has been the Braves Postcast.